Welcome back to the latest episode of The Last Call. I'm your host, Shegs. Look, this weekend hasn't been too fun, but we're still here, ready to dive deep into the weekend's games. Today, I got my little friend Tristan with us, always repping Arsenal as always. We've got Josh with us, always repping Man United. Look at him, he's got the scarf on, he's happy, back wins. It looks like they're ready to go. Please remember to like, subscribe, share, comment on all our social platforms. Go check them out. And today, for the first time, we've also got Garvey with us. He's going to be representing Arsenal. Go on, let me take the floor, mate.
Hello. So before we get into this, I just want to say, although I'm an Arsenal fan, I'm a casual Arsenal fan, to be honest, because when I was younger, I went to my dad. I said, Dad, I want to support Chelsea. My dad looked at me and said, why? I said, because of one player. And, you're probably going to think Drogba, Lampard. No, it was Michael Essien. And my dad said, nah, you're not going to get any football kits. Go to the stadium if you continue to support Chelsea. So I went straight to Arsenal and he showed me videos of Vieira and Henry and I quickly became in love with Arsenal. So that was just my introduction to football. And ever since then, been an avid Arsenal supporter.
I see. I like to hear it. Like you said, having Arsenal for support. Guys, before we could jump into what was your thing that made you support your team? Josh, what was the thing that made you like Man United?
So it's actually quite weird because my whole family, so that's my mother, my father, my sisters, they all support Liverpool. I was the exception. What happened was when I started really understanding football, the first time it was like watching international teams, right? Obviously. But then I started watching club football, and I remember just one day, just sitting in front of this TV and watching this team. They were playing red. I saw the manager get up. He was upset, and these guys scored 2 quick goals. I'm like, what's going on here? And the emotion in the stadium, they were pumping up and all that. The next season, that team bought a particular youngster called Wayne. He came in from Merseyside, and this guy was just passion from the get-go. I was just I love this dude. He wore the club on his sleeve, you know what I mean? And I was just watching more of that team, and I just fell in love with the team. And that's why I started watching and supporting Manchester United week in, week out. It was just the team, that fighting spirit, the players always gave 100%, even though they were not technically playing well or whatever. You'd see the passion, you see the fans, you see the manager. It was all of it. Yeah, ever since, never looked back. And Wayne Rooney is the one reason I'm really, really a strong United fan. So, yeah.
What about you, Tris? Because I know quite a bit of your side of the family's at West Ham, but where did the Arsenal come from?
My whole family's West Ham, but the first live match I went to was Carling Cup final, Arsenal-Chelsea, back in the 2000s. Yeah, man. See, fell in love with Arsenal because of the chants, the vibes. It just made sense, man. My identity aligned with theirs. Obviously, we got beat that one there. I think we lost 2-1, but I still come out Arsenal. Yeah, man. It was an incredible experience. The chance was tantalizing. Yeah, man. Energy was incredible. What about you, Shakes?
No, I hear it. To be honest, to this day, I can't really pinpoint an exact moment where it's that's the moment. But I don't know, it's just this feeling, when you just get this feel, whenever you watch a team, it's your emotion, I'd say I'm probably not, when it comes to emotion, I'm steadfast. But when Liverpool's on, it's you get that switch, saying, you're part of the team, even though you have no reason to care. And it's just a bunch of man kicking ball, and you're buff, but it's just something different. So, but I think Liverpool, I like the underdog. Because when I was younger, it was always the underdog, and Gerrard was just different. Yeah, that different mentality. Nowadays, we're not so much the underdog, but it still works. But let's move on. Let's talk about this game week. When game week 9 games into the Premier League. I was sitting here last week, and I was look, I ain't worried about Liverpool. I'm gonna go straight to the game. I was I'm not worried about Liverpool. We'll get our thing back. We win midweek, and I'm thinking, okay, it's found a little thing. We might get the momentum back, but come Saturday night, it just after 5 minutes, it went to pop again. I couldn't believe what I was watching. It just felt like the same thing over and over and over again. It keeps happening. Getting conceded by a set piece, not playing well, and it's just I'm not some other Liverpool fans. We know another guy that's been on this world. Some of us oh, this is the worst. We need to sack the manager. We need to do this, that. It's I get we're not in a good form, but it's like I said, it's just little things. I feel little things we've been unlucky with, little things we need to tweak and sort out. The coach needs to adapt to the players he's got, because you have to you haven't got the same players from last year, so you have to change the way you play or maybe tweak the way you play. Like the build-up needs to be better, whether that's you make it slower because we can't play really fast or whatever you need to do to sort that out. The defensive structure, defending set pieces, like those little tweaks, like he's got to get there and get it sorted. And I don't know, like he says, we've got 4 days to the next game or whenever. It's like, but you got to figure a way to just get us through until we can start playing better or the players start just performing better. Like it's doom and gloom at the moment, but I'm still like, okay, maybe the league's gone. Like there's only so much you can do with that, but it's only 9 games this season. There's still plenty of other things to play for, even if you can't get the league. But if I come to you, Josh, like, what are your thoughts on the Liverpool situation? Do you think this is like they're completely done in the title race? Do you think like they can get this back, or do you think like, okay, mate, this is the start of a bad season?
I think at least 60% of the blame has to go to Slop on this one. And I know a lot of people have been saying about a squad inherited or whatever, but I think he's kind of overcooked it a little bit. Last season, he was using Klopp's squad mainly, which is fair. You know, he adjusted it. You know, if instead of a 4-3-3, he moved to a 4-2-3-1. It worked well for him. It's fantastic. I think this season, obviously, he wants to make his own imprint in the squad, but I think he's kind of overcooked a little bit. First wrong decision in my head, which I know it might not be his decision, but he should have had a say in it, is getting both Nketiah and what's his name, Isak, back into the team. Those are 2 high quality strikers you bought in for a lot of money for both of them. That's always going to create some friction. I don't think he has a best 11 in mind, but I don't think it necessarily works the same way it did. I think after like Trent left and Robertson is no longer being the starting fullback, technically he has to adjust it because Trent used to go into the midfield space and you used to have players in the midfield, and that's how you never got overrun. Now you have Frimpong and Bradley who are not like Trent, so they'd rather be on the outside, leaving your middle exposed a little bit. So that's one reason as well. He's trying to force in Isak when Nketiah was the informed striker, you know what I mean? So why not you play Nketiah, get the goals, and then slowly, you know, get Isak into it, because Isak didn't have a preseason. Isak was sitting around for a long time. So slowly get him in. He was a multi-million-dollar signing, but at least get the points on the board first before you start forcing things. Salah doesn't work well with the number 9, so you have to get another winger who actually works well and looks for the number 9. So Slot overcooked it. And also, like, his comments, I find absolutely ridiculous. He was saying, oh, the reason we lost against Man U was because they were playing long balls and we can't do with long balls. Come on, man. Oh, and also apparently they didn't start with Sesko the one time, started with Mount, and it's just certain things are not needed. So I'll say Slot has to literally go back to the drawing board, think about what to do tactically with his team, and then maybe move on from there.
Yeah, I think he does. Like, he needs to fix it tactically. With those points, I think he's also just explaining like the way that his team needs to deal better with the long balls. But I think he's explaining tactically like a team that isn't usually playing like this, but they're forcing their way, like they're changing their whole style just to play us, and that's good. And I think if you actually watch that same clip, he was like, that's good that he actually commends those teams, like they found something and they're attacking it as much as possible. He's got to go deal with that. If teams have found something, you have to go deal with it and make it no worse, because I think they can. For example, when they played Arsenal, they dealt with every set piece, but they were up for it. But then the other teams, they can't seem to. They just can't. I think it's more the players need to get there. They just got to learn to deal with it. But come to you, Garvey, like, as an Arsenal fan, like...
Look, listen,
I'm guessing you're as happy.
I'm very happy at the moment. I'm very happy seeing Liverpool fall off. But what I will say is, Liverpool are champions. You know, they won the league last season convincingly. And yeah, they've added some players and they're saying there's, you know, the change in some personnel and, you know, their spinal squad still remains the same, you know? And you look at the team and think, I've looked at the lineup yesterday and I look at it and think, that's arguably, bar 2 players, McAllister and Alisson in goal, it's probably one of their strongest, maybe if their strongest 11 there. And you still think they're going to beat Bournemouth. And you look at Liverpool these past 3 games, because I'm including Champions League as well. You look at the Man United game and say, yeah, Man United played a brilliant game. They played to their strengths. And you look at it and think, Liverpool last season were defending amazingly against long balls, were able to match any team because they had the personnel, and I still think they do now. But in the Champions League, I saw Nketiah, and I saw a player in there who I thought, this player's playing on confidence, playing amazing, playing with real kind of stars, you know, like a star player, like a Mbappe-esque player who's just got the confidence oozing from him. But then I still look at Salah and Wirtz, and I see them not having the cohesion together. And I think this is a problem with Liverpool at the moment. Their attacking line have got too many individuals. too many players that don't want to play together, and too many players that want to play as if they're just a one-man team, like they're because, like Haaland, like Isak last season, and I think that's what's going wrong in their attacking sense. But, I can only compare it to Arsenal, where everything's going smoothly smooth at the time. So it's easy for me to say right now.
Yeah.
On that note,
go on.
do you mind if I quickly ask, like, do you guys think Slot, and I'll go to you as well, do you think that Slot actually knows what his attacking identity is or what he wants his team to play like? Or do you think like he just kind of put people together and said they'll just score goals? Because I'm getting that feeling.
I think he has an idea of what he wants to do. It's just whether or not, what's the word? I think he knows what he wants to do. It's whether he has the personnel to execute it, if you know what I mean. Like, for example, how they are like with the long throws at the moment. I think he knows what he wants to do to counteract it. It's whether he has the personnel to execute. At this moment in time, I don't think they do. They need to sort things out in January because they don't have the players to do what they need to rectify this at the moment in time. Like, this is why
Talking about
this
champions.
is why they've lost a few players, haven't they? Like, I know what's it called?
Yeah.
I know, but
We've lost a few things. We've lost a few things that are small. We lost a few things that are small, but it makes such a. For example, you can't deny Trent's fin was like he could kill anything. Anytime in build up, you could just go, what? I'm just gonna hit this diag. I'm gonna hit this ball, and I'm gonna kill all your press or everything you've done is finished. Like his build up was just, or he hits this pass inside and it's beat a press. Like he was the build up guy. Like he's like, you probably didn't notice it as much, but that's why it was like you could allow his defending because of what he brought to your team. Like anytime you give him the ball, he's doing something with it. And the other thing, like he was probably the most frustrating player sometimes, but Diaz was just, he could hold up the ball and run and keep give you time for your fullbacks to overlap. Like, right now, Salah and Gakpo, so they touch the ball and it's like, it's not going anywhere. Like we've got two flying fullbacks and they can't get, by the time they get there, the ball's already lost. Like you need wingers that can keep it, dribble, maybe try to take someone, and then by that time they've overlapped, you can play them. Like it's just like little things like that. It's like, it can be fixed. And I've looked at this guy and I've listened to this guy. There's a solution that helps with both things, but he probably doesn't want to do it because he's got two right backs. Like I would just go play Jones in right back because that allows you. Jones, if you watch him play, as much as like people say under the ball, but the guy never loses the ball. He never loses the ball, and he'll help retention with that ball, and he'll help keep it. If he goes right back, it allows you to now to put Gravenberch as a Bosley, so you're physically dominant in the middle, so they can cover up for Wirtz. So at least when you get the ball to Wirtz, or if he does lose it or whatever, you've got two physical players in the midfield, which would allow most of the things. Because right now, yesterday, they played Jones, Wirtz, and Summersline in the middle. When it's going the other way, none of them are really that other way. They all kind of want to go forward, and so it's just those little things. But Si's got to give, and he's got to figure it out. That's my point. So he's got to figure it out.
I think that also works in terms of, I don't think he has the spine to actually do what needs to be done. I'll give you an example. The way he's forcing certain things into the team, number one. Number two, the way he's not dropping.
He's got the spine. He's got the spine.
No, but he's forcing it. For example, like he's got the spine for the wrong decisions, in my opinion. But for what needs to be done. So yeah, hear me out here. Do you think he'll ever drop Salah?
Yes, he drops him midweek.
But that's midweek against Frankfurt. But
Yeah,
that's
but
not Premier League.
Okay, so again, this is what I said about them. Look, he dropped him midweek, and then I'm not saying he probably would have played him anyways, but Isak then got injured midweek, so he couldn't even go, let me play the same formation again, because Isak got injured.
But this is what I'm saying. Like, if you've looked at your team, for example, like the best person to actually play on the left wing now, he's benching him almost all the time.
What,
Chiesa? Yes, Chiesa. Chiesa is like one of your, because he's actually a true winger. You know what I mean? Chiesa is one person who he doesn't always think about goal. For example, in my opinion, if you play Gakpo kind of reminds me of a little of Rashford. When you play him on the wing, he's mostly going to be like your inside forward. He's going to be cutting in to score all the time. Whereas in Chiesa, thinks about, can I score? Can I provide? Can I score? What am I going to do at this moment? And he likes providing. That's Chiesa. And that's why he got you man of the match, even though he came off the bench every single match.
I know, but people, see again, like I love Chiesa, but I would be in a 90-minute game. A lot of the times he's coming on, the game is stretched, game is open, so he can just be like all over the place. I haven't seen him do it, and I might be wrong, but I haven't seen him do it in 90 minutes when it's not playing Southampton. from the Championship. 90 minutes against serious opposition. I don't know, and I haven't seen him if he's got the legs for that anymore.
But why not give him the 90 minutes then? Why not one game, right? You know, say, listen, I'm going to start Chiesa off the left. I'm going to have whoever as my centre forward. Maybe start Salah as well, or whatever. But give him the 90 minutes to actually show it. And if he doesn't hack it, fair and fine. But right now, you are struggling for goals because there's no cohesion. And maybe he is going to be that cohesive unit. Because now the difference between you and last season is now you have proper, I will not say target men, but proper strikers. You know what I mean? Compared to last season where you had people who would hold up the ball in the middle, then spray to Salah, who then would come into space. But now you've got people who occupy that space, which is why Salah is struggling, because there's already a centre forward occupying that space. So there's less space for him to operate in, which usually you would have in the other seasons. So now that you've got a centre forward, why not pay a winger who actually tries to look for a centre forward now? Give him the 90, give him 2 games.
I hear that point. I hear that point completely. I wouldn't link it to a player such as Chiesa being the magic formula, the magic,
No.
to change Liverpool's fortunes. I just think it's more down to the thing of you've got 3 players in Salah, Ekitike, Isak, who are egotistical players in a sense that they are very selfish when it comes to, they just want to score goals and they want a stat pad. And I think that's great to have one of those players in your team. But when you've got 3 players of that mindset playing in an attacking lineup, it can never work. If you look at the top teams in the Premier League, we've got Gyökeres. Chelsea are struggling because they haven't got that number 9. Delap was meant to be it. Then Pedro had to drop back and they brought Guiu in. Haaland is for Man City. And Man United got Sesko up front, and they've got Cunha and Bomo, who are used to be playing this in this way. But I think with Liverpool's problem, I generally do think it is down to the fact that they need to start playing, these front 3 need to start playing as a team, and they need to start working in combinations. And I think Salah's so used to being the main target from the wing, where it's now he has to switch up the way he's playing and not just, come in from the box and target, because he has got the likes of Isak and Ekitike who can do exactly the same thing and become a bit more clinical in his final thirds. So it is more of a thing of how can you combat that? By dropping Salah. I genuinely think Salah needs to. I genuinely think he's a player that needs to be dropped personally. If you do want to get Ekitike in the same team and make them and get Isak to have the confidence again that he had at Newcastle, personally.
Yeah, I get things, but I also think like these guys are just missing. Like Salah's has been poor. Like he's had chances. Like even yesterday he scored that goal. Like what a goal! But then it's like there was one in the first half. Wirtz missed one that he should have buried in the first half. Like we're still create. Like we will always score. That's as much as it is. We've got play. We will always score.
Yeah.
Like I said there last week as well. We've got to stop chasing games. Like as soon as you chase a game, it's like the reason why Arsenal keep winning so thin, they literally don't let you score, and as soon as they score, it's gone. But that's the thing. Once we, for example, midweek, we had to chase, but we quickly scored like straight after, so it wasn't like we're chasing for a long period. But once we got ahead, it was like the other team barely created because it gives you that stability. You just don't want players start to be more comfortable, and they're not going to risk it. Like, okay, we need to go get a goal. But if we chase, like you just start getting stretched, and then that's when you get hit with one on the end. Like it's been the same pattern in all the games. We concede early, then we're chasing for the next 30 minutes or whatever. Then we get back in the game, and then we lose it last minute. And it's just like I think some of it is a little bit, but it's just like I think it's small things. That's why I'm not. It's frustrating, but I'm not that. From what I've watched, it's like we're getting dominated in these games. We dominate all these games. We just gotta be on. It's the margins. That's the word. We gotta be better on the margins.
So, according to you, like as a Liverpool fan, when are you gonna start looking at Slot as being the problem, and when do you think is appropriate for him for like this conversation of Slot out to start? Because obviously it's different for us on the outside looking in, but only fans can kind of tell us how they are with the manager. So where are you with Slot right now? What do you think he needs to improve on, and what's kind of like your timeline and your results gonna gauge me to or something?
It's difficult in the sense that if you keep losing, it becomes a problem. But I would also like to judge him because I think I know what his starting 11 would be, but I haven't seen it. So it's like, can I see that starting 11 in a run of games and see what his type of football looks like when when he can play the same starting 11 back to back for at least 2-3 games and see what that looks like and see what he comes out with? Because I don't think, for example, also Jones wouldn't be starting. I think even the other day, Frimpong looked good when he started there, but it's like every time it's like someone's getting injured. So I don't know. We'll see. Like we'll see. If we keep losing, if we lose another 3-4 games, we'll be like, okay, like bro, like, what's going on? But I highly doubt we'll lose 3-4 games. Anything can happen. It's football, man. You gotta take it. And we'll go Palace, and we've got Palace then Villa, so nothing's coming easy. And Palace has had his number these last couple of games, so I'll just like to see what happens.
And as we see with Palace
I
today,
think for me as well, one thing which sorry, Ben.
I was just going to use it as a segue to go into Palace Arsenal. But yeah.
He was ahead of me. But yeah, look, let's move it on to Arsenal v Palace. Arsenal 1, Palace 0. Before this game even happened, I called it. I was talking to someone at work, and I said, "Hey, there's only one way this game is ending, and it's going to be a 1-0 either way." I knew there was going to be 0. So I think so. I saw the XG, the guy that does the XG on the Twitter. It was like, I don't think either team or Arsenal just went over 1. Like, it was not, the first half was like 0.0 something for both. So you knew this game was going to be a tight game that's in the margins. Arsenal, it seems like you can't score against them. I think that Nketiah had the first shot on them in like 300 minutes. Like, Garvey, does the squad depth right now look like it's paying off for Arsenal in these games and being able to keep the winning going?
Yeah, exactly that. You look at a Champions League game where we started Skelly left back, and then you see how Calafiori comes in and it's a seamless transition. You look at when Saliba's come off injured and Mosquera's come in, and you haven't noticed a difference. The defender has been resolute. It's been honestly amazing. And when you look at the performance, I look at Arsenal, I look at the attacking players, and I think, it's still not gelling, we're still not clicking, because we haven't scored an open play we have, but we've scored, there's a stat saying we've scored more goals from set pieces this season than we have from open play.
Yeah, you have. So the stat is you're 17th in open play goals. I think you only scored 3. And he's got 9 set pieces and 2 penalties.
Yeah, exactly. And then you look at that and think, is that a problem? But then you look at our defence and you can't fault our defence at all. And that's what keeps us in games. That's what makes us still have the hope that we're going to win this game, because we know that if we stay true to our formation, our tactics, and we'll get a goal from a set piece, and then we can defend to keep it 1-0. And there's a famous chant that was, back in the day, 1-0 to the Arsenal. George Graham, who was the manager at the time, was at Arsenal this week against Crystal Palace. And I could see him smiling. There's camera pans him smiling, because as the fans were chanting 1-0 to the Arsenal, it was going to come true. And, we finished the game 1-0 to us. And that is what champions do. They manage to shut out the opponents by playing their game, not by playing the game that the opponents want them to play, by playing their game. I'm very pleased with our performance. I just want to touch on Eze quickly. Now, Eze is a player that I love. I loved him at Crystal Palace last season. And in this game, he struggled. When he was on the ball, he couldn't find the pockets of space like Odegaard does. But what I did like from him is that he showed that magic. The magic is the reason why we signed him. And that goal was a brilliant finish. And it showed that we've got this camaraderie and this belief that any one of our players can turn it up and change the fortunes of our game. And Eze showed that. So I just want to give him a highlight and a mention. And generally pleased with our performance.
That was a very good win for Arsenal. Trist, Palace, everyone knows when you go to Palace, it's like, or play Palace, they're always tough. Like, they don't make it easy. They don't really like to concede. They make the game tough. Like, is this a deserved win for Arsenal now, escape, or do you just think this is Arsenal and it's going to be them all season?
To be fair, I would say it's a deserved win. Crystal Palace were well drilled. Like, defensive shape was near enough impenetrable. It had to be from a set piece. That was the only way we was going to be able to score. They are just so compact. Obviously, every player knows their job. And the way they were able to intercept us and then break on us. Like, I don't think, like, in our run of games where we've been on this winning run, I don't think a team has put that much pressure on us, which is, you have to big up Palace, man. They've done particularly well. Performances like this make me feel like they will be like in the top half of this of the table this season. And obviously they'll definitely be within the shouts of European spots again this season, I believe. But man, they done a phenomenal job on us. And we were lucky to win. Well, I wouldn't say lucky. I would say man, it was well worked. Our set piece was well worked. And obviously 3 points at the end of the day, that's all it is. 3 points. That's all I'm concerned about at this moment in time. Performances like this make me believe that we won't go too far in Europe, where we're relying on our defence rather than having that free flowing attack where we can score at will. I feel like that will serve us well in the league, but it won't serve us well in Europe. But yeah, man, we have to wait and see how the season goes, man.
Nah, looking at it from an outside point of view and coming to you, Josh, like for me, there's gonna be a point in the season because at the moment the set pieces are getting you into games or letting you flow or getting you out of finish. Like there's gonna come a point in the season where you might go a run of games where you don't score set pieces. Like teams you might go 5-6 games and you don't score a set piece and you need to score from open play. What do you think that's gonna be like for Arsenal if that comes about and they go a couple of games without a set piece? Do you think they can still win games and keep it going, or would that be something that maybe halts them?
So this is my one flaw with Arsenal. I mean, as another fan, I would wish to be in Arsenal's position, having won all these games, top of the table by 5 points or so. So it's great. But I think, like you're saying, over the course of the season, grinding out wins becomes a grind in itself. And at that point, when you're now 15 games in, 20 games in, especially in the league phase, and you have to keep grinding it out, this is when you're going to get injured. This is when it's going to be hard to get motivated. That's where the season potentially falls apart as well, where it's been falling apart for Arsenal other seasons as well. Granted, this time they have the squad depth, so maybe it won't necessarily catch up to them. But back to that point as well is there are going to be games where the set pieces you're going to come up against dogs. I'll give an example. We'll talk about it later about the Aston Villa City game which I was watching. Villa were dogging City out. Everything they were trying to lob to Haaland, they were clearing out. Onana was fantastic. So you're going to come up against a team who's going to be able to set up against set pieces that well. They're going to outfight you, be more physical. I think there's this thing I've been seeing on Twitter where Arsenal fans are going, oh, what do you expect us to do? Every team's playing a low block. Well, we expect you to unlock it. That's why you're a top team. That's why you got all these players, So I think this grinding out thing, it will eventually catch up to you. Now, maybe the squad depth this season will make you get out of it, which would be fair. But I think Arsenal have to really just start activating that attacking gene, you know what I mean? Especially like you're saying in Europe, for example, you're going to come up against teams who will be able to break you down quite easily because of the players they have. If you look at Real Madrid, for example, Mbappe is pacing behind. Barcelona have got those technical players. Just a couple of examples, So I think Arsenal just really need to kick in a gear. Don't get me wrong, it's a fantastic position to be in, but I think they really just need to start kicking on the attack just for those other games as well.
No. To be honest, I think two things actually. I'm gonna give Arsenal their props. No, I think two things have actually gone their way. That's gonna help them in the season-long run. One, they've built this buffer now in front of. They're 4 points ahead of City, and this is 7 in front of Liverpool. So now it's like you have this buffer. If you do get a game or two where you're not at it, you can still you've got the buffer to still be ahead, and they're still chasing you. If that happens too much, that might be different. And the other thing they've allowed is now it's like they've given time for their attack to slowly but surely. Because I do honestly think their attack will be better when they get Havertz back. As long as they've got Gokeres in, but I think their attack will be more free flowing with Havertz rather than him in the attack, and they'll get that fluidity. But they've given time for that to come, for them to learn to play those attackers to hopefully. So this might put them in steady. But look, Arsenal, they're in a great position. I give it to them. Like I've been saying, it's Arsenal's titles to lose. Hey, they got their points. I don't want to hear no excuse. Zero excuses.
Listen,
if it comes
how
end
much
of the
did you
season,
spend this summer for us? You come on,
hey,
man.
our net spend is still less than yours. Hey, our net spend is less than yours. That's all I know.
Net spend, man. Don't talk to me about net spend.
Hey, net spend is less than yours.
Don't talk to
Hey,
me about net spend.
like I said, hey, 7 points clear.
You broke the transfer record twice this season. Don't talk to me.
Hey, I don't. That's not my. It's not my cash. Hey, my cash. Whoever's cash it is, it's not mine. But look, Arsenal, props to them. They're doing their thing. I think they're going with. I think look, if we're all being serious, I'm not saying it like it's their time to lose. Like they've got the buffer. Like I think we had this like last season. They've got the platform. It should be let's go each week. And if they don't, then someone is gonna have words with Arteta because this is what they. And also, no excuses.
What you have to remember is we've still got a lot of players injured, a lot of players to come back.
Yes, I was just about to say this.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. Madueke, Havertz, Jesus, Odegaard. I
said Jesus in 2025.
Listen,
relax with that
one.
No,
you still got a part to play. You still got a part to play. You will see. Trust me.
What Avengers? The guys since 2020, since that 8-game spell in like 2023, there's been no Avengers. There's been nothing. I forget it.
No,
Jesus.
You're being
to be fair. I don't think necessarily the players to come back are going to be like the answer to Arsenal's attacking problems. What I've actually seen, to be fair, is there was a video. I think you guys were playing Sunderland or someone else. I'm not mistaken. There was a time where Gyökeres was in front of the last centre back. No one found him. He then went around the centre back because when the ball went out of the side and was literally through and goal. No one found him and did like 2 more times. So I think you're too used to playing without a proper striker. I think that's one thing. I think the second you actually start playing along the lines of, oh, we actually have a striker, let's feed him, I think the better your attack will get. Because right now, you're still seeing people like Saka and all that actually just cutting in, wanting to score, whatever. They're not used to naturally looking for that striker.
I feel like
Whereas
today,
because Alves was not that, Jesus was not like a proper that. So I think once you start playing with Gyökeres a bit more, I think you actually unlock levels to attack which you guys have not unlocked yet. I see hope in that. And I don't think Gyökeres is as bad as people make him out to be. I think it's just the team. I'm just getting used to the team which didn't have a striker, to be fair.
I feel like today we was looking for him a little bit more than usual. Like there was a few occasions where we did try to slip it through, but where he was playing against 3 centre-backs is a bit difficult. You know, I feel like Crystal Palace, they are the defensive specialist team. You know, we shouldn't be using them as a benchmark. You know, a lot of teams are going to line up against like that against us. I think we might see but yeah, man, we have to remember Palace are a different animal to everyone else.
Yeah. Nah, bro. Yeah, no, it was a good win for Arsenal. Now 4 points clear over Man City. I think it's about 7 points clear over Liverpool. Hey, this was a good weekend for the Arsenal guys. I know you guys are happy with that. But we'll move on to another game that done Arsenal a favour. Villa defeated City 1-0 at the City ground. Look, a couple of weeks ago we were saying Villa, like, can Emery get them? What's going on? There ain't much. But then since then, they've been on a roll. Emery soon has found his driven back, found his players back. I think did he drop Watkins again or did he start? I can't.
Watkins started.
Watkins started, but he's found that rhythm back. I think he's given these players, like, made some moves, benched a couple players, got that fire underneath players. So, Josh, coming to you, like, was this a Villa masterclass and them defeating City, or was City just not at it today?
I think today I saw a midfield masterclass from Villa itself, and City were missing that kind of final pass. I mean, I was watching the whole game, so I was mostly watching this game and flipping to the Arsenal game sometimes. And what I would say is Onana in that middle, what a player he was today. Like, he won man of the match deservedly. Like, anything City were throwing to a Villa, Onana was clearing at every single moment in time. So I think the midfield worked like dogs today for Aston Villa, and that kind of frustrated City because the times when the City midfield would get the ball and they were trying to feed Haaland, they were so frustrated from having to beat that midfield that they were now doing random passes, now doing clinical passes, and it was just not flowing for City. So I think City is a bit too one-dimensional at the moment, in my opinion. It's always just, let's look for Haaland. If they don't have Haaland, they don't have like the crazy world beaters they used to have. You know, back then there was ball for choice with Silva, De Bruyne, or whatever. Now they're entering this rebuilding phase and they don't have that midfielder who can change the game on his edge, you know what I mean? Maybe Sher could be that guy when he starts playing more, but at the moment they don't have that. And if they don't find Haaland, it's like they're out of options. They don't know what to do, especially when they come up like today. Villa was very rigid. And to be fair, their players are coming back, like Onana is back as well. Watkins, sad to see him not scoring goals, but when he actually has to hold up a play, he actually does it quite well and brings other teammates into him. And I think they've just refound their identity from, the beginning of the season. I think at the beginning of the season, they're a little bit drunk on last season. You know, when you go for something, you don't get it, then you start the season slowly. But I think they've come back. That's what it is.
Nah, yeah, it looks like they've finally picked up a bit of pace, but for me, I always said at the start of the season, like, I'm not too sure on Man City's midfield. And then looking at the team that he played today, coming to you, Tris, I'm not sure whether Pep overthinking going to Villa away, playing Reinders as the holding with Foden and Bernardo Silva in the midfield, when he's got two better DMs that he could have had on the pitch, and then move Reinders a bit more forward. Is that Pep overthinking it sometimes, or like, I'm not sure what he was thinking going with such a not a strong midfield going up against a Nana and Kamara in the midfield?
Yeah, I think he has a tendency to do that. We've seen him do it in the past. But yeah, man, it was an interesting result for Aston Villa, man. They've done very well to work it out, man. They've obviously they grinded it out. I imagine what's it called? The strike from Cash was out of this world. Obviously, to beat Donnarumma, it had to be, innit? So I feel like City this season, obviously, they'll with the defense they have, I feel like they can grind out games in a similar sense that we can. But then obviously Haaland will obviously win them games, but they can't rely on that. In previous seasons, they used to have weapons. This rebuild, they've got a few transfers wrong. But then again, I imagine they've also got a few players coming back, haven't they? We have to wait and see. The jury's out too far. I'm not too sure if this is a trend or not. Yeah, man. Aston Villa got a good result.
Yeah, no, I've said it like before. Like, I'm not a big proponent of City. I feel like they've got, like you said, like we've all mentioned, they've got Haaland, who's their top player, but they haven't. For me, everyone else is like they've got nice players, good players, but no one else that you feel like can do something. Like it's like if you stop Haaland, it's like okay, but what? It's like no one else. Like you just like after Haaland, there's no one. Like if you look at every team, every other like, or if you look at Arsenal, it's like okay, you got Saka, but if Saka's not having a day, Eze might have his day. Oh, he's not having his day. Okay, Odegaard might have his day. Even Liverpool, even though we're not playing well, but it's like you got Salah, you got Isak, you got like Ekatike, like you got players, multiple players that like you can have it. Whereas them, it's like they've got Haaland, then it's Bernardo Silva's not the same. I still don't know whether it's going on with Foden. Like Foden was that guy, and then got Player of the Year, and then fell off he just became another player. Just quickly with you, Garvey, what is your thoughts with City? Do you think their vulnerability is now just being exposed? Yes, they're good, but they're not gonna. I don't. They're not that good. No, it's definitely.
I think. Sorry about that. Just adding on to that, I think you're right. I think Pep is out of ideas because A, his formation is unclear. B, I don't think he knows where to put people. Like today, it's kind of starts off with this 4-1-4-1 kind of situation, but then he was putting Reinders as like the DM. Whereas in other times, it's put like Nico Gonzalez as a DM and giving Reinders a bit more for free reign. And when Nico Gonzalez came onto the pitch, Reinders was then put up into that Silva position, and actually Reinders started making a bit more of those decent direct runs as actually breaking through the lines. So I think Pep doesn't know what to do or how he's going to play. I don't think he has any idea of exactly what his best 11 is in the midfield with the progression, all that. I think his best 11 actually includes Reinders and someone else, because Reinders can actually break up our team. So yeah,
well,
I think
it's Rodri, but Rodri's injured again. Like that's their form. That's the guy. Like if you actually look at City, like people go, "Oh, Liverpool had a poor or their transfer window." No. City's last couple of transfer windows, they've just been buying for the sake of buying. They bought Nico Gonzalez in January. Your Rodri's out, and he's not playing him because he don't trust them. And he's like, they just bought these players, and he doesn't trust them because you'd think, okay, we're going to go away to Villa. Let's put a DM that's going to help us control the game, someone that can hold. But instead, you're trying to put Reinders, who, like you said, his best position is in the centre mid, advanced 8. He can go up and down, break up play, now drive with the ball. That's his best position. Like he's not meant to be doing no DM unless you're going away to a team you're going to dominate. Like you're playing Wolves or something. You're like, we're going to dominate them. Okay, well you do that, but not against Villa. So like you guys said, I wouldn't be surprised if it is his last year. Like maybe City need fresh, not a fresh voice that might have different ideas for those new players that Pep doesn't really like. You can go do something, maybe take a break, maybe after the World Cup get that Spain job if they don't do well, like that sort of thing. Like that's probably what it needs. But if we move on to United, for the first time in a long time, they've had back-to-back wins. They look to be rolling. I literally said this at the start of the season, and people said, "No, it's United." I said, those having a week off each week is going to help United because their manager can then just drill the formation and the style into them. He has a week, every week he gets a week off and he can drill what he wants, how he wants it, play the same exact players each week, get them in the groove. Some people said in this that it wouldn't work. Oh, it's just United. And they had a couple bad losses, but again, you have a bad loss. Now he's got a week to rectify it. Now had a good win. He had a good win. He's got a week to emphasize that win and what they've done well. Another one, I can emphasize, I have a whole week of rest, recover, repeat. And now they're starting to look like they can win games and they're playing the same. Now the players are starting to know each other. They know what they're going to do. Even this Bruno thing, they keep saying that he shouldn't be playing that deep. But if you're a top player and you're playing the same position week in, week out, you will start to find ways to get around it. So how much it been feeling, Josh? Like, especially United scoring 4. It got a little bit nervy at a point, but they managed to get it out. How is it feeling to be back in form?
I don't even like it. It feels lovely, lads. Like to actually have a smile on my face after 3 weekends in a row. It's fantastic. And there's actually a lot to say to why we're in this position. I think the first thing which I really want to drive home is having a keeper who can do the basics is a blessing. Like it's so good. Like previously in other games when we had Bayandi and Onana, some of those balls which come into the box or whatever, Onana would leave them. Onana how to do or how to react. Those crosses, claiming everything. So having a keeper who does that also puts that belief in the defense. And sometimes you're not chasing the game from the get go because with Onana, like some of those shots which were coming in on crosses would have conceded already. So that's the first thing. Second thing is it's actually amazing to have people play for the badge. That's it. Like if you look at Cunha, Mbuemo, Bruno, all those people, they're not playing for themselves. They're playing for the team. They're playing for the badge. There's passion in the team and the whole thing. That's fantastic. And I think just also shows our recruitment. Just kind of touching on Slot a little bit with this. I think Amorim knew exactly what he wanted when he was buying Cunha and Mbuemo. You know what I mean? Like he knew the profile of player he was going for. Like he wanted a player who can play as a 10 but then the winger as well, so that when the game is stretched out, they can use their wing capabilities to kind of stretch the opponent out even further. When the game is compact, they also can come in compact and they kind of play tight-knit passes with close ball control and get out of that situation as well. So he knew what he wanted. He went for it. He got it. And now you're kind of seeing the fruits of that as well. So I'm so happy. I'm still having a little bit of nervousness over Bruno in the deeper midfield. I mean, yes, in attack, I think in attack it works very well. Like Bruno, when we're attacking, we have possession. Bruno in that midfield works very well. In defense, it's still a little bit shaky because Bruno likes to press and he still leaves that person. Like in the first 10 minutes, you can actually see it as well. Bruno was doing that. They were actually running it behind a lot until we got that goal. Then they kind of like stepped back a little bit and then we pounced on them. But I'm so happy, man. Like 3, hopefully we can get 5. Forest's first home game under Daesh at whatever is going to be the thing. But I think as United fans, I think the most important thing is just take it one game at a time. One game at a time, get the structure in, not have too many hopes or whatever. Give Amorim time to actually, like you were saying, implement his ideas into the squad. You can actually see it now that we have an identity when we're playing. So we just need a bit more time to actually get that identity through. I'm happy.
Fans seem to be seems to be on a rough path. Garvey, do you think for like a United, these last 3 back-to-back wins been the right sort of teams that's allowed them the space? Like they play Liverpool, that gives them the of late, are giving teams space to be able to be here to counter. Sunderland want to attack, and obviously they also more of a last time. Are these performances, and they played Brighton, who is Brighton? Brighton are always going to attack. No matter what game they're playing, they will attack. Some games they overpower you, some games you overpower them. Like, have they just played the right teams, or is this really United getting their form and the manager's trying to get everything right? Yesterday. Nah. Yeah, no. Look, you might want to see United do well. I would like to see United suffer and keep suffering. I don't ever want to see them do well. No matter what, they can keep suffering for all I know.
No, what? Take me back to Grimsby, man.
Like, let them suffer as much as possible. They ain't got nothing to do with that. Hey, but Tris, do you think with the problems, do United look like they can push for a top 4 this season, or do you think that's too far of a push and maybe like a 6th, 7th place is more going to be accurate for them?
I think,
or even top 5. It might even be
6.
top 5.
Top 6.
Because 5 gets Champions League now.
No, 5 gets Champions League, but I feel like they'll be top 6 because it seems to me their front 3 are connecting. However, they still have the likes of Lenny Euro. What's it called? What's his name?
Sure.
And then who's the Dutch boy? Forget his
Ligt.
name. The Ligt. Like they're your defenders. I don't feel like that's enough to compete at the top. If you get what I'm saying, they're obviously.
To cut in there, De Ligt had actually been one of the most consistent defenders in the Premier League this season, general. If you look at his match rating, the whole season.
I'm not talking about ratings. I'm talking what I see with my eyes.
No, even the eye test. Even the eye test, bro. Like, without De Ligt, I think De Ligt is that fighter. If you watch all the games, right, this guy who'll be in the middle, the ball comes to the right wing. He's like a spider. He's already there. He's clearing that ball, coming in, conducting people. But it's just what I've seen. And
no, I think as a free,
a very inconsistent side. And look,
as a free, they work.
Sorry.
As a free, yeah, because it's like it protects all of them. Like you couldn't put any of them in a 2. Euro still young, so it's like he can make mistakes. De Ligt, he's a little bit slow, so being in the center of a 3, he can hold a little bit back. And sure, he does his job as a left, like in a 3. So I think as a 3, if you try to make any of them a 2, you're getting finished. But I can think as a back 3, they can cover each other enough to. They can't go play PSG.
Not even the likes of Bournemouth. Like what happens when they play, you know, those teams there, like your Newcastles, Sunderlands, like these teams will give them like an actual game, you know, and like they are a very inconsistent side, but they still managed to like claw back towards in the second half. He wasn't able to like shut it off, which I feel like you'll leak goals, and you won't have enough control to be able to be in the top. But then again, the way the thing's looking right now, top four is all over the place, man. You got Sunderland there, Bournemouth's in there. It's all, yeah, man. It's too early to say. It's too early to say. But I don't feel like Man United are
I think one thing
going
I
to be
will
there.
say though is to your point, when it comes to us and the way we play, I think the one key thing in all those games now, the one thing which is left for me, like for Amaro to improve on, is that midfield, and that's the only thing. I think sometimes we allow teams to run at us, not because it's not even the defense's fault, but obviously the midfield gets going through. Like I said, Bruno is used to being a 10, so he's used to pressing out of possession. So as a /8 hybrid, you can't press out of possession. You need to hold your plays, watch the runners, and then track them. Whereas in Bruno's used to pressing, he leaves space, and then they all come in the middle. That's our only problem, I feel. And that's what causes like pressure on the defense, on the keeper. So that's what I would see as our only weakness going forward, which Amaro really, really needs to fix. But I think we're actually evolving, you know, to be fair. I think we're understanding each other well. I think even if you look at Liverpool, like last season, I mean last game we played, when they were pressing high up and then Shaw was able to return and then the passes were smooth and then Bruno hit the post. So I think in transition we're fantastic. And like to your point of we come against a low block, I think this is where the excellence of signing Cunha and Mbeumo comes in. Because when the game is stretched out, they play like wingers. Like look at Brighton, Liverpool, Sunderland. They'll play like wingers. When the game is compact, they'll play as 10s because they're able to do those intricate little passes between them. So I think this is where the genius of Amorim's formation is kind of like fluid kind of thing. So I'm looking forward to it, but we've still got a lot of work. And I wouldn't even be, as a United fan, I'm not even thinking of top four or whatever. I'm just thinking next game at a time. I just want consistency. There's something to build on. And once we actually get to a thing where we're regularly not losing games and regularly building on wins, that's when I'll start to think, okay, top four, whatever. For now, I don't even want to entertain those kind of thoughts. I just want to go next game, next game, next game.
Yeah, nah.
That boy might finally get a haircut, man.
Man needs that haircut.
Yeah, but yeah, let's kind of move it on. And I'm gonna actually start with the team that won the game instead of the team with the bigger name, because we gotta give props where the props is due. Sunderland won 2-1 at the Bridge. They've had an absolute fantastic start to the season, and I think they're currently third in the league. Are they third? No, they're fourth in the league. 17 points already accumulated in 9 games for a team that just come up from the Championship. They're pretty much halfway into getting security. So even if they had if they dropped off and lost the next 5 games, they'd still probably be only about mid-table probably. Like, I think props need to be given where it's due. So I'm going to come to you, Garvey, in terms of giving some love and props to Sunderland. How did the manager, the team, like, let me know your thoughts on them in terms of how they've been doing. Josh? No, I'm really impressed with Sunderland, their manager, the way they're willing to take on the teams. Even Sunderland, but even all the teams that came up, at least this year, they're just not fodder. Like last season, where everyone plays them, it's like, here comes 3 points. Like, there's 3 teams that will come up and showed the league, like, look, we're trying to stay here. I want to put up a proper fight. And if you're one of the teams that thinks they could just be there like Wolves have only got 2 points, yeah, I think it might be time for them to pack it up. But let's dive into the team that stunk up the joint a little bit. We said before, centre-back, once they lost Colwell, might be the position that's going to come to haunt them. So, Trist, do you think like Chelsea definitely need to grab someone in January before else it might become a really, really big problem? Or it's just a one-off game and they'll be back by the next game?
Do you know what? Yeah. Right now, I can go with the agenda, or I could talk football. I'm deciding to talk football. They need to go and get some experience. They need to get some experience. They've got a very, very, very young squad. They need to bring in some. That's what Sunderland have. You can see, you know, like the difference that it makes. Obviously, like there were certain players, like for example, like the second goal that Chelsea conceded, Andre Santos, and like they had no desire to get back at all. You know, you need some experience within a team to like kind of awaken these. You know, this is the Premier League. Like what are they fighting for? Like it almost was like they went to that game and expected to win because they were playing Sunderland. But then obviously Sunderland come with desire and they actually took it to them, and it was a really, really it was a shame it was on at 3 o'clock. That was a game that should have been on TV. You know what I mean? That would have been nice to have watched. It's
How are you
unfortunate it
watching
was
that
on.
game?
No, it was on Match of the Day. It was on Match of the Day. I'll be real. But what was it called? Yeah, man. It's unfortunate. Yeah. Chelsea, man, these guys, man. Honestly, like, these guys, they're not competitive. They're just assets, man. That's the only thing I look at. I just look at them and I see assets. Like they're just looking to flip players. Like they're just trying to be a valuable club. There's no desire to win because these are the games you go out and you stamp your authority. They were on a decent run. Like this is the game you come out and you let people know that it wasn't games, like they didn't beat Liverpool just because it was Liverpool. It's yeah, man. These guys are not serious. But yeah, I think what was it? Shay was talking about challenging for the league this year. It's like, what are you seeing? What are you seeing? I don't know what these guys are seeing, man. Yeah, man. It's dark. It's dark. But yeah, man. Chelsea are just going through the motions. I don't expect them to do too much this year, man. But Sunderland, their points target was I think it was 40 points. They're gonna smash that easy, man. They're gonna be here to stay, man. Sunderland are a proper club as well. But yeah, man. It was a good weekend.
No. I actually can't now. Like the way they've been playing makes like that when that first what's it called? I forgot what their derby's even called now. The first game against Newcastle is gonna be a proper
Yeah,
Tyneside
man.
derby.
the Tyneside. And when that first one comes, like I was thinking before the season, it's just gonna be one of them. Like it's a derby, but there's no real battle.
No,
It's
there's
just
gonna be
gonna be
some spice
Newcastle
to this
walking over.
one.
But so it's gonna be a proper game. But we don't talk about. I feel like we don't talk about enough in football, especially the way Chelsea have designed their team. But in basketball, it gets talked about a lot. Like when you have a young team of players, it's like, yeah, they could give you the one or two great games, but it's like they're always going to be inconsistent. Like they're young. That's why they're young players, and you can't always have a team of young people as your main squad. So do you think, Josh, that's just always until these players like grow and become like 25, 26, even 27, like they're just going to have these problems where they'll have a couple good games and then they'll just drop a game or two, then have another couple good games and then drop a couple of games. Like they just won't get that consistency.
This is where I don't know whether to blame Maresca or the board, because I feel like Maresca doesn't have control of like who the board is saying bring in and bring out and whatever.
No, he doesn't.
And you're right. I think the first thing is you've got a big squad. This is the problem you have with a big squad. I think when you have a big squad, you have too many players. It's hard to kind of get your message across in how you want to play to like a big group of players. So that's the first thing it is. Now, Maresca has a style he wants to play, but he can't really implement it because of the big squad. Like you're saying, they're young, they're inconsistent, they're not going to be playing well. So that's the first thing. Second thing is, first of all, I have to touch on it. That defending for that last goal was absolutely awful. They launched the ball forward. There's one centre back and two CBs for like 6 seconds, like 6 whole seconds. This guy is just holding off Tosin. Fair enough. Tosin is kind of making sure he doesn't go through. What is Chalobah doing? Like Chalobah's not even going to help him out. Like for those 6 seconds of hold up play, like it was just like he's just counting. It's like basketball. He's like holding him just as bouncing the ball. They're waiting for other teammate to come. That was atrocious. So
Then
like
the
I said,
two trailing
young, maybe
midfielders,
inexperienced.
bro, no desire to get
That's
back
what I'm
at
saying.
all.
They couldn't be bothered to sprint back. They couldn't be bothered to sprint back. So I'm just like, what is going on? So I had to touch on that. That was just awful. But moving back to your point, I think, yeah, that is it. These young players, they're going to be inconsistent. And also, the player profile is wrong. So this is the problem where the board kind of overrules the manager, because I don't think Maresca would have bought some of these players. I'll give you an example, Garnacho. Even when he was at United, he was a future star, but then the problem was he kind of turned into like one of those selfish kind of players. So he's no longer looking for the other people. He's not trying to just beat players and score and that kind of thing. And that's another problem. Now you have you who was up front or whoever is up front, and you've got Neto and Garnacho who was always thinking, if I get the ball, cut in, shoot. Get the ball, cut in, shoot. It's very rare that they want to string some passes together, like have that cohesive kind of motion and all that. So yeah, it's going to be a long season for Chelsea, especially with the young kind of players. And like I said, what kind of players you want to get, because now they've gotten Garnacho recently for United, who had a terrible attitude and was not playing for the team. He had Sancho, who was playing well, but then didn't want to play well before this or whatever. So what kind of message are you getting or sending across bringing those kind of players in? So I think it's hard to establish an identity and style of play with the player that he's kind of having. So this is where I think kind of Maresca has to put his foot down to the board. Like, okay, the players you're getting me, it's more than enough. I need these kind of players. Give me this. And yeah, stop running me like an American football team or like a franchise. Because I think that's what they're doing. And run me like a football club.
Who's Chelsea's leadership squad? Who's their captain? Reece James.
Reece James, yeah.
James.
And like
James.
who else is there part of their leadership squad? I think, that's
Probably Robert Sanchez. He's the oldest guy on the team.
Fernandes as well.
Enzo. Come on, like the names that you're mentioning, I think even Tosin might be part of it as well. But I'm looking at them and thinking they're not players that are going to grab the other team and say, "Come on, we're going to win this game. We're going to fight for Chelsea. We're going to, take us back to the level we should be at." And I think losing against Sunderland, I think now they need to have a real serious look at themselves and say, you know what, we as a team, if we want to challenge and be a better team, we now need to look at each of these players and say, pull your weight, because there's some players that are just coasting by, who are allowing mistakes just to happen each week in, week out. And I think no one's holding them accountable. I think it's not only just down to Maresca, it's down to the players, And I think I need to see more of that from the players. I want to see Chelsea. Listen, I don't like Chelsea at all, and I don't care about them. Frankly, I don't care if they get relegated. But I will say this, I just want players to hold the other players accountable, and I think Chelsea need more of them.
No. Yeah, I'll be interested to see how they come back from this and go on forward with Chelsea. If they can get the momentum back that they had, or maybe it might be a little break. But we'll see. Like, Chelsea won't be at their best. They have Palmer. Like, that's will be the fact. But moving on, let's go to the quick fire round. I'm just gonna come to you guys with the rest of the remaining games. I just want one line, one quick sentence. Your talking point from that game. So I'm gonna come to you first, Josh. Tottenham versus Everton, 3-0. What are you going to say on that game quickly?
I did watch that full game as well, which was quite an interesting game. The scoreline very slightly flatters Spurs, but I have to give a shout out first of all to Van der Ven. Fantastic, much good set piece ideology, and he was just getting those goals as well. Vicario, outstanding saves, and like I said, Thomas Franks makes them solid. So I think they're solid, and I just want to give a shout out to Richarlison, because for the third goal, they were missing that kind of centre forward. For that third goal, he was in the box, got the ball, headed it. It was an assist. So yeah, I think Tottenham, they're going to be Tottenham this season. But I think for the primary reason, they're like a solid team, which was good to see. Everton, terribly unlucky not to score some of the times, because I said Vicario was fantastic. He pulled off some world, his better at an overhead. Everton are going to be fine this season, if they keep on playing this way.
Nah, yeah, that sounds right. Everton, like I've said, they're going to be Thomas Frank's gonna have him on job. Like, he always seems to have people. Like, he always sets his team up very well to be able to come back and make sure they can keep chipping away at points. Going on to Burnley, Wolves. Look, another of the what's it called? The teams coming up from the Championship that have made their stall. And I think when they played the teams around them, they've made it very abundant. Like, we're going to try and get the points. Whenever we play those teams, we're going to make sure we get the points. And they've looked really well. They went 2-0 up, and then Wolves brought it back. But then they were still able to bring it, get another goal, get the win, and keep it going. So I think they've shown that, look, they might struggle against the big teams, but when they do play those smaller teams or teams in and around them, they've got the capabilities, and they're going to try and win those games. So props to Burnley, another good win for them, and they're out of the relegation zone. So we'll see how they go in the next couple of weeks. But coming to you, Garv.
Sorry, just before you go, one quick one. I have to give a shout out to Fleming for that first goal. What a touch. Like, he was coming over the top. It was like slow motion. He had so many options to just definitely touched it. Like, just beyond the keeper. That was just fantastic. Beautiful.
They've done really well this week, and then we'll see how they go next week. And come to you, Garth. Bournemouth against Nottingham. I didn't watch this game, but did Sean Dyche manage this game, or was it too soon?
Yeah. Was it?
Yeah. So his third game.
Yeah.
But he can't.
Yeah. I haven't watched the game. And I'm going to be honest with you, I don't even know the result. Did Nottingham Forest lose?
Yeah, it was 2-0 Bournemouth.
Yeah. See, I generally do feel that Sean Dyche will click for Sean Dyche, but obviously first game back, he's yet to kind of get used to, the players are yet to get used to his style. And I think their first win in the Europa League was, the conference, was a great result for them. And I was hoping I was going to build momentum on it. But, Premier League is a different beast. And I think they need to kind of get into training, get training for a week. And then I think they'll bounce back. I generally still think that Sean Dyche will keep them safe. I don't think they're going to challenge for Europe or anything like that this season, but I don't think they'll get relegated. On the performance itself, I can't really talk too much. I didn't see it. I know that Bournemouth are doing well, so
No, it's good. Yeah, Bournemouth at home, the way they're playing, it will always be tough for anyone to go to their ground right now. The way they're playing, Josh, Newcastle, Fulham. How did you find the game? Newcastle went in the lead, but then Fulham stuck around. Fulham looked like the actual better team, then got a goal, but then Newcastle was able to rally late. Guimaraes scored in the dying embers of the game. So is it Newcastle trying to look like they're trying to get a roll? They won in the midweek. What are your thoughts on Newcastle going forward?
I think today, like with that game, you saw the power of St James's Park coming full throttle. I think that's the reason Newcastle was able to win the game. I think St James's Park just kept giving them the energy just to attack in the last few minutes, and that's how the goal came. To be fair, even though Fulham looked like the better team, Newcastle should have been ahead like 2-3 times as well. I think there were some chances we missed, so Newcastle were deserved winners. But unlucky to Fulham, to be fair. Fulham were compact the whole time. But I think Newcastle are just gonna smash through it. They're a good team.
Yeah. Nah, they are. Their wingers need to start doing better though, because that seems to be their problem. If they could get their wingers firing there, yeah, there'll be a real problem. Coming last game of the weekend was the first game of the weekend. Leeds, West Ham. Whatever West Ham play doesn't look like it's a great viewing. I'll come to you, Trist. What are your thoughts on West Ham? Leeds 1-2-1, but what are your thoughts on Leeds going forward?
West Ham lost. They conceded to. They lost on a set piece, right? That's what I was thinking. Yeah,
I remember that was a long time ago.
lead centre back. Yeah, man. They just lack desire. Well, I think it was Wan-Bissaka as well on the back stick. Yeah, man. They need to tighten it up. Nuno needs to make a few tweaks, and I think there's definitely 3 teams worse than West Ham, so I think they'll be all right.
Well, that's the final games of this weekend. Look, we're going to go quick. Let's have a quick look at next weekend and what it's got to offer us. There's a Carabao Cup in the middle of the week, so that'll be interesting to see how that shapes up for the weekend. But next weekend, we also have Liverpool Villa. That looks like the biggest game of the weekend. Tristan, what do you think your thoughts are, the way Villa are playing and the way Newcastle was playing? The way Liverpool is playing. What do you think is going to come next week?
I think that shall be... I don't know, because obviously Villa are supposed to be in a good moment at this time, and obviously Liverpool are not doing what they're supposed to be doing. So it has the hallmarks of an interesting game. Obviously, I can't see what's going to go. I can't predict what's going to go on. I don't have a strong feeling for each team. I'll be honest. Yeah, man. I feel like Villa will definitely get a result out of you. Like, it has to, isn't it? Liverpool on a downward spiral at the moment. Surely it's got to continue.
Wishing it could. Look, I don't know what it's gonna be like. I'm gonna see where we're at midweek, but again, midweek we're probably not gonna play like our strongest team is gonna make changes. Even though it's against Palace, he's gonna make changes. It's all gonna depend on next week. What next week is like. I'm hoping 8 p.m. at Anfield. Maybe just use that to get us through the game, and then we'll go. I think it's after that. Is it the international break after that as well?
Soon.
No, it's the week after.
There's one more week.
Yeah,
the week after.
So it's 2 more weeks.
Yeah, the week after.
Yeah, so hopefully maybe get that win at Villa, maybe get another win, and then we go after the international game. Another big game next weekend, Tottenham versus Chelsea, 5:30 kickoff at the London Stadium. What do you think is going to come out? Which team do you think? Do you think Chelsea bounce back from that, or do you think Tottenham keep going forward?
I think Chelsea are going to show Tottenham a good game. Yeah, I don't think it's going to be a win for both teams. I think it'll be a high-scoring draw. I genuinely think both teams are going to go all-out attack, and I think their pride won't let them lose. I genuinely think, Solanke's going to come back to haunt Chelsea if he's playing. I genuinely think, it'll be a high-scoring draw, and I think, Chelsea and Tottenham are both going to put their all into it and try and not let either team get a win.
Yeah, it's gonna be a real interesting game next week. See how both teams, they're kind of fighting for
both teams lose.
Hey, that was possible.
I need it.
Another big game next weekend, which actually maybe at the start of the season people want to say it's a big game, but Bournemouth City, the way Bournemouth are playing, the way City sometimes look. Joshua, how do you think that game's going to fare? It's the 4:30 kickoff on Sunday as well. So how do you think that game's going to fare?
First of all, that's a delicious game. I won't even lie to you. I think Bournemouth are playing without fear. They don't care who they're coming up against, who they're playing. They're gonna play the game regardless. They don't care who you are, So I think they're gonna be flying at City. I think a lot depends, like we were saying, what Haaland does. To be fair, and maybe the Bournemouth defenders might not just be able to handle him, but who knows what's gonna happen. I think it's just gonna be either a narrow 2-1 win to Bournemouth or like a draw between Bournemouth and City. I think that's what it's gonna be.
I know. Yeah, I know you're an Arsenal fan. We didn't really touch on Arsenal too much, but they got Burnley, so I don't see nothing else but a quick Arsenal 2-0 win. And that's why I don't see Burnley doing nothing out in that game. We'll keep it as that. Look, guys, it's been a pleasure again. Hey, for another week, no Tris. He's still not finished the episode. Still coming in and out of it. Maybe we can get that fixed sooner or later. But it's been a good week. What's it called? Liverpool on a downward spiral. Maybe they can bring him back next week. Tristan's joining us for the finish. Arsenal keep moving on. Arsenal keep going. United on a bounce back, winning another game. It's been a pleasure, guys. Hopefully next week I'll be happier and I'll be more cheerful. Hopefully Arsenal lose, but they won't. Hopefully Man U lose, but they won't. So we'll just see how it is. Thank you, Josh, for joining us. Thank you, Garvey, for joining us. Thank you, Tristan, for joining us.
Thank you.
That's been it from us. It's not over. The last call has happened.